As with boxing, when it's at the elite stage, you can't play games.
Out necessarily striving to win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I told you. It's WWE. Okay? This is WWE, like I told you.
For multiple reasons. One, they have a huge size difference. Tank Davis, he's a lightweight, normally fights at 135 pounds. And Jake Paul, he's a cruiserweight, usually fights at 200 pounds.
One Floyd Mayweather has confronted Jake Paul about the no knockout rule in his upcoming fight with Gervonta Davis. He claims Jake is only focused on selling tickets and turning the fight into entertainment rather than real competition. Floyd believes the event lacks seriousness, but admits both fighters know what they are getting into. To him, true boxing should be about skill and competition, not staged rules that make it look like a show.
But like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers.
To Wade Clemens posted on X, "I think we all knew this would be an exhibition, but the Florida State Athletic Commission saying they will display skill without necessarily striving to win using strikes and blows to the head or other full contact maneuvers probably isn't the best way to advertise the fight." Lol, known for his sharp takes, Clemens criticized the commission for making the event sound weak. Floyd Mayweather, who has always thrived on real competition, now seems focused on proving that no one, not even Tank Davis, can take the spotlight from him. By arranging his own fight with Mike Tyson, Floyd once again pulled attention toward himself. It's a classic Mayweather move: stay relevant, control headlines, and prove his name still carries unmatched weight in boxing.
Now that there's so many celebrities and so many people that are known, where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events, that's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson.
All this is legacy. Mayweather, retired and undefeated, has little to lose with exhibitions. For him, it's about money and keeping his reputation alive. Jake Paul, still a newcomer, uses these fights to build his brand. But for Gervonta Davis, the choice is much riskier. Every fight he takes now shapes his career. If he keeps choosing entertainment over real competition, he could damage his reputation with boxing purists who want to see him tested against true contenders. The real question is whether short-term fame is worth the long-term risk.
Whether what is going to happen in that fight is basically the same thing as what's happening to Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford, except for that is a live action fight. That is a real competitive fight, but the marketing of it is the same thing. And the fact that somebody is going to pay for it is more likely with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson than it is with even Jake Paul and Gervonta. But I think that it really is an attempt to compete with Gervonta Davis by setting up a bigger fight than Gervonta Davis is having. And I'm going to tell you this something else too. I would not put it past these people.
For the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight might have been enough to dominate headlines on its own, but Floyd's move ensured he stayed in the spotlight. For decades, Mayweather has mastered the art of keeping attention on himself, even if it meant stepping outside boxing tradition. His fight with Tyson guarantees hype because of Tyson's name and Floyd's undefeated legacy. By comparison, Jake versus Tank risks looking more like a staged event than a real fight. Since the commission refused to sanction it as a professional contest, many see it as closer to WWE-style entertainment. but lacking authenticity.
Will face Gervonta Davis in an exhibition match. Quote, "You can't do a fight like that as a pro fight," Shipman said. It'll be an exhibition fight, end quote. Similarly to the concerning location move, he states that the main reason for this is the significant weight disparity between the two opponents. An exhibition is defined by Florida statutes as a boxing, kickboxing, or mixed martial arts engagement in which persons participating show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win, using strikes, elbows, blah, blah, blah. So, the key word here is, key phrase, show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I told you. It's WWE. Okay? It's WWE, like I told you. These are setup fights. These are rigged fights. I know Jake Paul gets upset when people say he ain't a real fighter and all that stuff. But I think the Mike Tyson fight pretty much showed everybody that, Mike was pulling back on his punches, and it just was weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Now you got Gervonta Tank Davis getting ready to sell his soul to go up in here and move around the ring with Jake Paul. I don't know what's going to happen on this. I don't know. But regardless of the fact, the fight is going to do well because it's going to be on Netflix. So everybody got Netflix, so everybody's going to watch the fight. So it's going to be like a wrestling event, basically, a fake scripted fight.
World champion Paulie Malignaggi has been outspoken about his frustration with the matchup. He argues that knockouts only matter when they come in real, evenly matched fights. In his view, setups like this cheapen the sport. He also believes Jake Paul is being handed undeserved credibility by participating in spectacle-driven events. When debating Chris Algieri, Paulie explained that casual fans might enjoy the show, but true boxing fans know this fight.
Paulie, knockouts, dude. Knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career.
You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture knockouts.
You can't manufacture.
To a degree, you can. To a degree. I mean, Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists though, man.
He's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight.
But if he was a real knockout artist, if he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Felix Trinidad was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best. If you're a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best and show us how he smokes them. But the way Wayne did when Felix Trinidad was doing it. You know? The way they did it when Mike Tyson was doing it in his prime. Say what you want about the Mike Tyson era. He knocked out everyone from 1986 to 1989. Everyone got knocked out. Everyone.
Well, by your standard, you could say that Tyson was, to a degree, manufactured.
No, because he fought everyone that was there. Everyone that was there at that time fought.
Teddy Ellis will 100% agree with this.
With the expense of Witherspoon.
That we're afraid of
with the exception of Witherspoon. No, but they all, doesn't matter. He knocked them all out. There was nobody you could say in that era except maybe Witherspoon, who had contract issues with King at the time. Except for Witherspoon, there is nobody Tyson didn't fight in that era. He knocked them all out. You can't say like, oh, but if he would have fought that guy, I don't know. No, with Davis, there's guys right now that have been hanging around for years. Yo, dude, when are you going to fight them? The lightweight division was stacked with talent. Even at 130, it had a lot of talent when he was there. Didn't fight almost any of them. So it's not the same thing as the Tyson era. You want to say anything about Tyson era? Fine. It wasn't as high level or something. He still knocked out everyone. There was nobody there in that era that you could say Tyson didn't fight.
Didn't say it was related. It was the same as the Tyson era. Didn't say it at all. I was actually going to say the opposite when you talk about Trinidad. Trinidad is a bona fide superstar. And the way that he was, and like you said,
you stepped him up and he knocked out.
And he was a knockout punches. No, of course. So that's a different thing. So is Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, you also have to compare it to your contemporaries. Nobody is selling, dude. Nobody is selling. No one sells tickets. No one has a following these days. There's very few fighters who
But
actually
there's
sell
a
tickets.
push, bro. I was at
Canelo
Showtime.
Alvarez.
I was at Showtime.
There's Canelo
There's
Alvarez.
a push. Bro, but no, but champ, I don't want to keep cutting you off, but I got to because
They
here's the
all
thing.
push.
There's
work,
a
sometimes
push
they
for
don't.
certain people. I remember being at Showtime and even watching on HBO on TV. They're mentioning Saul Alvarez, who I didn't even know his name was Canelo at the time, as a possible Mayweather opponent. When they were talking about possible Mayweather opponents, I'm like, I knew who the rest of the guys on the list were. Who the hell is this guy? Who's Saul Alvarez? That he's going on, that you're putting him in a list with all these other guys that you were bona fide champions and high-level fighters.
Broadcaster Ada Ladipo offered a different perspective. He argued that holding this kind of fight while both Davis and Paul are still in their physical prime is a mistake. According to him, exhibitions make sense after a fighter's peak years like Mayweather versus Logan Paul. Doing it now risks distracting both men from real career-defining fights. These prime years are priceless, and wasting them on sideshow events could damage their long-term legacies.
Whether you agree with it or not, Gervonta is considered the #1 lightweight in the world. And it's a division that includes Shakur Stevenson, a lot of young guns coming up. I'm not any more sure if it's going to include Keyshawn Davis, but it's a hot division. He's considered #1 in that division. Like, that's why I kind of find this a bit, I don't know. Like, there are challenges out there for Gervonta. There are big money fights out there for Gervonta. We want to see Gervonta in those fights. Again, I don't know how many fights people want to see AJ in, just to make the AJ Jake Paul comparison. One, as far as I'm concerned, that was Tyson Fury. I don't really have any interest in seeing an AJ in any other more fights. Whereas Gervonta Davis, I wanted and still do want to see him in so many more fights. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. These exhibition things are, like, really and truly, they should all be when your career's done. Like, when you think of Floyd versus Logan Paul, done, right? Floyd versus Conor, did he have one more after? Was that it? I can't even remember. But it was right at the end. It was done. Right at the end. Even if it wasn't, right at the end. These guys having these exhibition fights in between what is the peak of their career is kind of weird for me. Very, very weird. And then it isn't even comparable to Ngannou Fury, because at least these guys were the same size. Like, Jake Paul is a 215, 220 pound guy. I don't know what he walks around at. Gervonta fights at 135. Guessing he walks around about 155.
In the end. Exhibitions like this are business first. Mayweather already perfected the model pair to fighters with big names, promoted as a spectacle. And cash-in. Jake Paul has copied this formula successfully. And now Tank Davis risks stepping into the same space. Whether fans love or hate these matchups, the result is the same: hype, controversy, and massive pay-per-view sales. Boxing purists may be frustrated, but from a promotional perspective, exhibitions work because they keep everyone talking.
Aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground, I don't know what else, bite him, I don't know. But I mean, the skill level alone, now of course, there is a size difference, a height difference and all that, but he's just gonna struggle so much landing the shot. You know, it's just gonna look bad. To me, this is the way I see it. It's gonna look bad. Tank is gonna be too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's gonna knock him out or, you know, but he's gonna feel it.
Are you surprised at the backlash that Tank is getting?
No, yeah. What is going on with why are they mad at the fighters for this?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time.